Alright people, what's going on? Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. It definitely helps out a lot. Also, to get, new content from me. Also, the notification bell to be notified when I go live or post new content. With that being said, let's get straight into it. So, looked at an article by Lance Zierlein. He's an NFL media draft analyst, and look, I don't really read so much into the media for the sports world because most of the time it's garbage. But just based off of this is more so an information piece regarding the projections for compensatory picks for 2021. So, interestingly enough, there's one team that is projected to receive 4 compensatory picks, and it's the only team that's projected to get those many picks, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys are lined up to receive the most compensatory picks out of any other team in the NFL of 4. Now, the projected compensatory picks are 2 in the 3rd round, 4, 5, and 6. So that's what they're aimed up, that's what we're looking at right now. Obviously, this has to do with how the Cowboys address their needs in free agency. So, Dallas had lost 7 total qualifying free agents, and they gained 3 with the additions of Gerald McCoy, Clinton-Dix, which canceled out the losses for Malik Collins and Jason Witten. So, we did trade a 5th-round pick to get Tyler Badass out of Wisconsin. That trade with Philadelphia. But the Cowboys are lined up to get 4 compensatory picks in 2021. And that's really big because, and you might be asking, Space, why do we got to talk about this now? Well, the biggest thing is that the reason why this is a huge deal to talk about is because this is how the Patriots or successful franchises fully retool. Is you get good talent, you get the best players that you can, and you try to keep as many as you can, but when if you have your core set and some people stand out and, you can't afford to keep people as a part of your core and they walk and they get, high picks like Byron walking to the Dolphins, Robert Quinn going to the Bears, getting all that money. I mean, to get a 3rd-round pick in compensation for that, I don't know if the Cowboys will get 2. I doubt that, knowing how the NFL is. But they're lined up to get 2, and if they were managed to get 2 3rd-round picks, that's very, very much a premium. It can allow the Cowboys to move up in the draft to get a guy they want. It can allow them to trade those picks for key veterans in the NFL. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing is, I've always said it. The way you build your team is through the draft, not free agency. And that, and the draft does include trading picks to acquire veterans. And I think that based on how the Cowboys are lined up, I mean, who knows how they're going to look this season? We don't know what the Cowboys will look like under Mike McCarthy. Yeah, I have a really good feeling the Cowboys will do well. I think that they can definitely make the playoffs with the roster they have now. Like between 10 to 11 wins. I don't think that's not, I don't think that's far out of the stretch of the imagination to think the Cowboys can win the division. I think it's just a matter of how far they can go in the playoffs, and that is something that I don't know. I think that the Cowboys maybe can win a playoff game or 2, but I'm not expecting much, especially with a first-year head coach. I think the last, and I know if we're gonna use the SB word, the last coach to do that was Gary Kubiak. First season takes the Broncos to a Super Bowl. Wins it first year. Granted, that was a whole different situation. They had an all-time great defense, and their offense just did what it had to do to get the job done. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, they're supercharging their offense, and I feel like they're trying to go the route of the Kansas City, way of you supercharge your offense, and you build your defense just good enough to where it gets the job done. And I think that the Cowboys, here's the thing, we've seen the Cowboys with high-powered offenses, 2016, 2014, 2007. I mean, I would argue 2007 was probably the most complete Cowboys team with playmakers on both sides of the ball. I don't think the Cowboys are on that level, but I do think that they can definitely reach that 2014 level where the offense is firing on all cylinders, being very efficient, and the defense is just doing just enough to get the job done. But I do think the Cowboys need to do a bit more on defense. We don't know what it's going to look like. The Cowboys did use a majority of their picks to address the defense. If I recall, out of the, look, you use 2 picks on corners. You use 2 picks on defensive linemen. It's just, when you look at that, I think that's the biggest thing for me is that, hey, who knows? The Cowboys, they get key playmakers. I think the offense is more or less set. I think the Cowboys, all they need to do is just fix up the defense a bit, add some more talent. And we'll see, who knows? We don't know exactly what this defense is going to look. I mean, for all we know, the Cowboys are set at defense. We just don't know it. They just need maybe a retool. I think that's what a lot of people have been saying is like, hey, the Cowboys just need a new coaching staff and a new philosophy, and they can be put, that team that gets over the top. But it's going to be tough. Look, you're going to have a situation where, you're in a tough division. Every single team got better, more or less. And, and also the NFC has become a very, it's been a very tough conference to win. There hasn't been a repeat conference champion since Seattle did it in 2013 and 2014, but overall, I think the Cowboys can definitely contend in the NFC, especially if they can, like, if we're talking like on a 5-year track, if they can. I'm not expecting them to repeat what they did this year, but if they do manage to repeat somewhat, even 80% of what they did this year, and things pan out, I think the Cowboys can definitely be. They could definitely win a championship in the next 5 years, and I don't think that's crazy to say. I think that it would be. I think you would be kidding yourself if you think that the Cowboys can't do it in this time frame, especially if they drafted well. And I think that we got to also give props to Will McClay. I think that yes, Will McClay, he doesn't hit on every single pick. I'll admit that, but I mean, I think that now that him and the scouting department having that full control and having the ability to, from what I was hearing, McCarthy and Stephen Jones, more so McCarthy, was like, I don't care about the system or the scheme, just give me the players. And that's something that I like to hear. I think that's something that, we would not have happened under Garrett. I think Garrett would have just been like, hey, listen, we need a guy to fit. And I think that's, to be honest with you, I think McCarthy's approach is the best way going forward. I think, look, he's really good at developing receivers. I mean, in Green Bay, he had Greg Jennings, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson. And I would argue that CeeDee Lamb is more talented than all of those guys. And he managed to make the guys that played in Green Bay, like, pretty much superstar wide receivers. So if he could do that with them, I definitely, and granted, he has a coaching staff to help out. And I think that, look, if the Cowboys can somehow get CeeDee Lamb, I think CeeDee Lamb will eventually become a number 1 receiver with the Cowboys. I mean, he's 21 years old. And, I think, based off of these prospects that we're seeing, I think the Cowboys can definitely develop them to become some really good playmakers. So with that being said, I want to hear what you guys got to say. Do you think that the Cowboys, with this new draft philosophy, getting these compensatory picks, do you think that they're going to be more aggressive, all this other stuff? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Please put that down in the comment section below. Also, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to get more content from me. Also, hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live or post new content. Alright, guys, I'm out. Peace.
Used to live in Sin Cities like Bruce Willis, but I'm Jackie Chan, karate chopping, I'm still kicking. I used to be chopped and screwed, I'm little flipping. Now I'm nice, Mike Jordan, so who's pimping? I'm running man, you the running man, you still slipping. I hit records, you swinging, it's still